Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I apologize for my voice. It sounds a wee bit croaky to me. I do have a lozenge in my mouth. I don't know why I've got that ticklish cough again. And this is my second attempt to do this flip through. I suggest that you pause the video, run, don't walk, to the nearest calendar, and make a note of the day. I am actually finished with the first of the purple journals, and I'm doing a flip through today. Those of you who watch regularly, thank you so much, and especially if you're a subscriber, will know that I started this journal way back in January when we were doing a live event to commemorate Carol from the Crinkled Path, her birthday, her retirement, yeah, two big reasons. For those of you who are maybe here by accident or on the referral of somebody else, well, by all means, welcome. I hope that you find something of value and choose to subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 subscriber milestone and obviously find some benefit in spending some time with me. Okay, let's get to this. Now, I should be able to remember the measurements, but 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, and with a 2-inch spine. Now, I will do a bit of commentary along the way. Some of this stuff you will have seen in progress, some will be brand new, and you will see that some of the people that I am friends with have definitely either contributed in some way or have influenced some of my choices. So, this journal is made from a Dolly Parton cake mix box, and it is covered with wallpaper that was given to me by Carol. And she actually gave me a lot of purple themed wallpapers, so of course I picked one that I liked. I had the doily, and I'm bound and determined to use more more doilies, more I'm so sorry, more bling, more of everything. This closure, and I felt the need for a closure. Number one, it seems to add a finishing touch. Is interesting in that it is variegated. It's a pretty open weave. Don't remember where I got it, but of course it was thrifted, and I've got a ball of it. So, now that I moved this, I have to make sure I'm still in frame. I don't like gator mouth journals, so the tie makes a lot of sense. Now, this journal was seen by somebody before it was completed, so she wanted to buy it on the spot, but I wasn't ready. This is a little pocket here. Maybe I have to throw in a little tool to get out this little flower. Obviously something else can be tucked in there, but I've had these die cuts, thrifted die cuts, forever. So basically I created a pocket right there with a side opening, used this title, Everyday Book, and also treated it with matte medium to, give it a little protection. Now, the part that you will not have seen in the past, well, maybe you saw this yo-yo. I added the yo-yo and the button. But when I was in Manitoba, you know that I thrifted a lot of these kinds of flowers. And this one I actually made. And that was influenced by Kim. Do I have another one handy to show you? One day I just started. Where, oh, where? Boy, does this place need a cleaning in the worst way. Okay, this is one that I made out of, I think it was actually crinoline, but maybe it's not crisp enough to be crinoline. So I made a couple of these little guys. I made a couple of these, and I thought I had another one, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, they're very easy, and maybe one day I will show you, or you could certainly go to Kim's channel. She did a whole series on making flowers. Plus, her most recent series is about using jewelry, and you know that I thrifted a lot of that. It's not that extravagant what I did on this one, but I did use this cute little pin. It seemed to, now it must have been a brooch that I broke the back, the mechanism off. So I ended up having to glue it down. I just used Fabri-Tac for all of these things. So it looks like it's holding on well. Now, in hindsight, if it was a brooch, I should have, it might have also been a lapel pin. You know, a brooch back, excuse me, would have been a good thing too, because it could have been clipped on. Anyway, enough about that. This is another wallpaper that Carol gave, and I used it on the inside. This is a tea towel that I have used. A pocket with some dyed paper and some stamping. Every journal I make, I include this message in there. Now, whether I, excuse me, whether I add something else or not, I guess remains to be seen. Ay. It's not really that hard to do this, except when you're on camera. I can see why people just fling the things aside and go back to it later. This was some beautiful, I think they would have been cards. Now, they were scored, so I ended up sewing around them and making something big enough that it could actually serve as a signature page. Added some stickers to fill that central area. And this is just a card of some sort. Many of these things I don't remember where I got them from. I do like to offset my notches, because then, as I've said before, excuse me, it doesn't, then you're not measuring or looking off center. This is the wrapper from, I don't even know if they still make that stuff. You know, medical gauze used to come wrapped in this kind of purpley paper, and it was in a box, and then you could use it to wrap up the wounded. Just some sort of a letter. I had made these, a couple of these pockets a long time ago, using some beautiful vintage gift wrap. And I just added a few things here. Now, it seems to me that this is probably a double pocket. Again, I'm not going to fool around with that now. This is a fussy cut, no, a die cut that I got in a thrifted bunch of whatever. Oh, you know what? I could decorate this. But my concern, I figured I better stop. Number one, because it is getting pretty full. Even though there are these spaces where there's absolutely nothing on the page. This is a vintage pattern paper, I guess, but maybe not for a garment. Now this, I flattened and ironed bias tape. And you know that stuff, I think, is a challenge for a lot of people. Oh, okay, here's a piece. So you can see that fold line is so baked in that it's pretty hard. Oh, and there's the little... Oh, I shouldn't be distracting myself with this, but anyway, this is what it looks like. So I ran it through my die cutter after I backed it onto some cardboard, and that worked a heck of a lot better than when I tried it just as a piece of fabric. So that was the moral of the story there. This is just some paper with some purpley bits on it. I didn't like what was on this paper, so I just glued down some random paper, like for journaling space. If Renee buys this, then there is the R. Here's another charm, and I bound and determined to use up my charms. So 5 signatures, 5 charms. I mean 10 charms. Digital of some sort. Now this was also a die cut feather that I had done. And because it was kind of very, floppy, because it was just the weight of bias tape, I I glued it down here. This is vintage gift wrap. And there's space on the back to write. This is a napkin that I fussy cut around. I love that napkin. It's got just these succulents. Now, originally I had a different plan here, but collage happened instead. So just some purpley floral images. Really what I wanted to do was hide the flap, the triangular flap that was exposed because I glued down an envelope. This is some thrifted scrapbooking paper. I think this was probably part of the same thing, and I had, before I glued this onto the envelope, I just did some stamping with one of my purple stamp pads. That's the other side of that. No, this might have been a transfer pattern. I just can't remember. I love this paper so much, and this, I think I might have salvaged this from a greeting card, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have another piece somewhere. Yeah. So this was part of a greeting card. You can see I just ripped it off there. So anyway, that's what I used there. Just another little card stuck in there. This might have, I don't know what that is, to be honest. Just glued it on the flap for a bit of decoration. This I thought would be an upper tuck. Maybe I should leave that in there as an indication of what's going on there. And these are just flowers that I fussy cut those off some gift wrap, and I'm not even sure what I used for a base there. Negative space from a punch out. The other side of that structure there, I glued down this out of some gift wrap. This, if you can imagine, is a bobby pin. And it's purple, so of course I was going to use it. I ended up having to use a jump ring and this little bead here. Now, I don't think that this is going to impede, I don't think the bobby pin is going to impede in any way on getting things in and out of the pocket. Just a couple, or maybe it is, who knows. That can always be moved, of course. Then on this side, of course, I have one of these giant tea bag things. I don't know if this would have been, it might have been loose tea. A couple of tags. Again, most of the time, it's a double pocket because, of course, there's the actual tea bag, and then depending how, if I glued it down just in a U shape, then there's a second layer there. This is just one of those foot and mouth artist calendar images. Beautiful. It looks like it's on actual canvas. This is a map out of a book with some napkin and some morning glories on there. I left this as it is, which I don't know. Eventually, you just have to stop. Some ledger paper. Now this might have come, I think this came from Carol. Now, I opened it up to be able to sew it into the signature, and I didn't glue it back together because, of course, it would be very difficult to get anything in at this angle. So this can just be opened up and written on. But really cool colors. And of course, she looks so fancy. And I think there was actually a hairnet in there, if I'm not mistaken. Another piece of that. Oh, and because it was fragile, I had used some washi tape there. This, again, a little unfortunate that it looks upside down, but I thought it was more important that Canada be right side up. So here are a couple little charms, and I tried to stick with things that I've had a long time or really low profile. This is just the simplest thing ever. Well, simple once you figure out a bead that will actually go around the curves. That is the hardest part of that. It's just basically a bead strung on a paper clip. Didn't do anything with this or this. Now this is a, doesn't look like I did a very good job right there. I'll have to fix that up. This is Georgia O'Keeffe, one of her paintings. So I fussy cut it out of off a calendar page, I think it was, and backed it. This was just a pocket. I used some, some people's digitals, a little tag. I don't know who the K stands for, but, and of course, that became quite a substantial pocket. Here, this is a piece of fabric that looks like a tape measure, and it was wrapped around a jelly roll that I thrifted. I had a book with a lot of these kinds of animals in them, done in these very bright colors, and I have included them. I think there's probably more than one in here. This was the back of a card. Where's the front of it? Oh, this was a card. So I just put that across there to cover the happy birthday, kind of fussy cut around that Canada thistle, and that is ready to go. This was some scrapbooking paper, and I used some of that trim that, and I just glued it down solidly. This was a tag that I had obviously made with some napkin. These napkins are in that French collection that I have. Not sure why I put that there, I guess to serve as a label. Fussy cut some gift wrap. Here is some, again, that same, excuse me, same vintage gift wrap, just with some labels. And this is on packaging of some sort. I don't have a punch like that. I have a slot punch that I prefer, to be honest. An envelope, ledger, recipe. This was cute paper. I think it was just note paper, so you'll see that up here a couple of times. Atlas page. This was some stationery that I bet you I've had for 20 years. I added some glittery rickrack to it. This is paint cloth. When I was painting with acrylics, I would use a cloth to, clean my brush or whatever. And eventually I washed it I mean, fabric in itself is, you know, quite a floppy page, and I just kind of sloppily stitched the flap closed, or not closed, but, you know, stitched the edges to create a little pocket there. Here is a fussy cut hibiscus. This came off some, not even quite sure where I got that, but it looked to me like it was the paper that you would find wrapped around flowers by the stem. Oh, I didn't put a bead on there. A couple more charms here. The Tree of Life. I absolutely love the Tree of Life and the significance of that. A couple of hearts. The other side of that paper, matte paper, I used tea bag. Oh, I see. I need to glue that better. Just as a tuck spot. This is a beautiful deck of cards that are a card out of a beautiful deck that I found. This is somebody's digitals. Don't remember whose. Oh, you know what? I guess it was wishful thinking. Thinking that, I don't even know what I used on there, but I guess because it's so shiny, it didn't hold. So I will get my, once this Fabri-Tac flows down, I will glue this down the entire surface. I can't, there's no okay, there's a bit of residue here, but okay, so we'll leave this as a bookmark here. This was the part of a paper from a wallpaper book, you know, where they show you what it might look like in an actual room setting. Another fussy cut bit of bias tape, just with a little mini collage underneath. And I just hinged this. How did I do that? Oh, over the top of the page. And this was just some scrapbooking paper that is not my favorite. The other side of that recipe. Now, this was a piece of parchment. Don't know where it came from. It was getting kind of beat up. I had a scrap piece of my red cabbage dyed piano paper, cut a scrap of lace off something. Now, I had to keep cutting this card. That doesn't look straight. 3 3/8. Oh my goodness, it's not straight. It's out a 1/16 of an inch. I'll fix that. But anyway, I had to keep cutting this down to make it fit in the pocket. So I'll fix that. This was, I know it was an 8 by 10 piece of scrapbooking paper from when scrapbooking paper first came out. It was such an awful pattern. But what is this? Is it? I think this might just be napkin or napkin liners that I just painted. That's the best I can do in terms of remembering that. Now this I thrifted somewhere, not sure where. I glued this piece of old tape there. This is some cabbage dyed, what is this stuff called? See, when somebody else loses their words and I'm watching a video, I think, well, that's, and I say what it is. And yet when it happens to me, total loss. Anyway, maybe while I'm gluing this down, it'll come to me. So I am going to put, you know, a good bead of glue. And like I said, I'm doing it all over because one side of this pouch opened up anyway. So rather than repair the little envelope, I thought, why don't I just use it as a tuck spot? And it does help cover up this atlas paper. Cover this up, although who knows, we might need it again. So let's tuck those things in there. There shouldn't be any glue sealing that shut. Okay, where were we? We're trying to think of what this is. No can do. This looks like handmade paper, and this vintage, this was when people still wrote in cursive. So somebody was obviously learning how to do that on this wide-lined paper. This is just a note card. This was just, again, some scrapbooking paper that I don't care for. So I clipped it on there. This is this is another one of those pages out of a wallpaper book. And this just says chill, which is good advice for any of us at any time. Now this is an envelope. It's a corner pocket that I covered with somebody's digital. And then I used one of Kim's beautiful dresses that I fussy cut. And a piece of this ruffle that you might have seen me use before. And then I just stuck in a piece of this fancy paper with the little gold thread in it, because it all seemed to work together color-wise. Now that little sleeve, that little sleeve is lifting because this piece of ruffle is lifting. Now maybe I shouldn't care about that, but we don't want this little arm ripped off here, so. Maybe that will do the trick. Maybe a little clamp would have been nice, but anyway, I think that's a pretty cute thing. Here are a pair of sunglasses and the word trust. Piece of scrapbooking paper, more ledger, not LaSalle, whoever he was. Voyage down the Mississippi. He added Louisiana. To the Empire. I don't have anything on there. This is a sympathy card. Oh, I know. Because the message was such that, you know, don't necessarily want a sympathy card in a book, probably. This is a place card that I had stamped. So what did I do here? Oh, I left the card intact. So again, I guess this is one of those that could be a double. So here, oh, apparently not. I guess I glued the back part down. So I thought that looked kind of cool together. And it is just attached to this folded piece of paper. Now, I love these, and I think this might be the first one I've used. You know how you can get and I did this as part of one of the 100-day projects. Those shiny, shiny gold stickers with all the pointy edges, you know, sort of like a starburst. I didn't like that. And I thought, okay, I've got a whole package of these. What can I do with them? So I brushed some gesso over it. And if you can see, I don't know if it catches, there every so often you get just a little bit of the gold flickering through. And then I stamped a design that basically fit on the stamp, and then I cut all the little points off. Hardly labor intensive at all. This is just a little snippet that was that I glued at the bottom here. I think I might have covered something up on the paper that I didn't want to see. This gold and purple paper was the wrapper around some ribbon. Here's another piece of tape I glued down. Oh, there's another one of those animals. This is the other side of that purple paper. These were oddball shapes in some sort of a kit, and I just folded them over to pretend they were tabs. This is kind of a cute card. It says between friends. I didn't do anything to it other than tuck it in here. And this is a piece of 6x6 scrapbooking paper, but again, colors are perfect, so. This is some beautiful washi that I've been hoarding on that paper. This is a piece of wallpaper. I think this also came from Carol, if I'm not mistaken. Although she gave me more than this. Another piece of washi. Oh, another piece of washi. This is from the Van Gogh collection. Now this, way back when, I would have shown you Cricut paper, Cricut vinyl, I guess, that I thrifted. And in one of the books, I guess not this one, I sewed, like I made a signature page and I sewed it around. But I have to say that wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done because this doesn't fold well. So what I did as an experiment was cut a piece of this off and just turned it into a tab. So of course, once the backing is off, it is more pliable, more manageable. Another just a little bead here on a paper clip. This was just some coffee dyed note paper. You know how you can get blocks of paper. I guess I had dyed those at some point. Hinged it together with some other washi. Put a little sticker on there. And this is helping hold it in place. Another beautiful piece of paper. Some music, sheet music. This was out of a book. There's a tab. Now this, oh, you know what? I bet you I haven't even shown you that fabric. This is part of a girl's dress. I added this little ball pin with those teeny tiny beads. A little card. More of that penmanship paper. Here I've got a key and a hummingbird charm. Another little paper snippet. Well, paper and fabric. So there's some piano paper. Anyway, you can identify paper. Now, to show that I'm actually using real ephemera, this is a vintage tea card. I think most of the ones I have are from the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. So, the other half of this Wally thing, I used here to have a straight edge along there. So then I used the other half here. Again, I think I was covering something up because this is a piece of stationery. Again, I've had this for 100 years. I loved it. I hoarded it. And so there would have been an imprint at the back there as to whose card it was or whatever. You know, which company. So that was that. Oh, Carol had also sent me the hardware that was in, this is the packaging from some trouser hooks and eyes. I took them out, I used the packaging, made this sort of tab on here, added a little pocket. That's one of my gel prints. This is a beautiful stamp that I have, that peony. Added a couple other little papers here to finish it off, and it's definitely beautiful. I just added some old book page, blank book page, to create some writing space there. This, I don't even know where I got it from. It was obviously a thrifted greeting card. But again, cardstock gets pretty thick. So I basically cut most of it off, just left enough to create a hinge there. Somebody else has done all the work on this, but I took advantage of it. This is an inscription out of a book from 1922. This is one of the ruffles that I sewed. Now, Carol might have given me this fabric. I think she did. So I made ruffles. If you remember, I thrifted a whole box, probably hundreds of pieces in it, that a person could have used, a teenage girl could have used on her bedroom wall. So this seemed to work perfectly. This is from an old, why do I have this lint here that I can't get rid of? I don't know if this was gift wrap or whatever. I backed it on something just so there'd be some writing space. This is, I don't know where this came from. It might have been in a book. 1972. Somebody bought something at the Redwater Meat and Grocery, and it cost 59 cents. So can't get anything in a grocery store these days for 59 cents. And this is just a commercial journal card that I bought a long time ago at a scrapbooking store, and again, was hoarding. This, you might have seen me do. It was page edging, again, on some scrapbook paper. I used this trim. Now, that was a cut-off piece, so I just used the entire bit. So up here, it was doubled over. I haven't put anything in this pocket. Probably will. Because I'm a well-read person, I know that that's a crocus. But I've never seen crocuses, like real ones. But at my daughter's place, as spring has sprung, there are crocuses everywhere. So they're pretty interesting. They're kind of furry, in fact. Anyway, just did a little. So I thought first up was so clever, because crocuses would be one of the first up flowers. So I'll probably, but again, it's getting dangerous. These are the bookmarks you used to get, well, maybe still do, out of O Magazine. Maybe I should just put a bookmark in there. I mean, they're pretty lightweight. I can find a better one than that. But at least it shows that it's a pocket. So I'm using stuff I have left and right. Really, totally amazing. Now, back here is, again, that same wallpaper. This was a piece of one of those, instant art kind of things that I guess is, an attempt to make art affordable to people. So I had taken this off its frame. I used this to make a couple of little journals, and I had this strip left over. So I glued that to, it's not a belt. It is a belly band. That's right. I had this underneath there, didn't I? So this is an old calendar. It's got it's written in, the color there, the background color is purple. 2006 calendar, stuck it in there. Made a little pocket here. Used this for a splash of color. Used one of these Mucha digitals of somebody's. Put that in there. This is from a scrapbooking kit, and I did kind of a little belly band type thing there. So that, I believe, brings us to the end. Now, I do have to straighten that out. Oh, and look, I even signed it and dated it. Woohoo. So that is this first purple journal. Now, before I see Renee with this, because she wants to see several other things that I've made, I may just add a bit more bling if I get some of my pieces done. I still haven't been able to find the, oh, and I didn't add a fabric flip to this one. Maybe I should just quickly do that. I did a video on these because I'd made a bunch of them. Did I tell you that this is a barrette? I broke the part, the back part off it, but isn't that the cutest? And quite a clever idea, if I do say so myself. Eyelet. It's eyelet. See, it only took how many minutes to think of that? I should probably... I guess it's wasted on a page like that. If I put this here, then at least person could write underneath. So that might be a possibility. Oh, and I should point out that, and I probably said it at the time, that these 3 fabrics also came from Carol. So she's pretty heavily invested in this project. Just wondering what I can, again, I hate to keep adding and just making it bulkier and bulkier. This is probably too big to fit in this fabric pocket. Sorry, guys. Maybe something like this would be an indication, but of course that's going to fall out of there, so I need another paper. Whoops, wrong drawer. I even have, one day when I was, sometimes I'm amazed myself. I must have been bored senseless. I separated my paper clips. I brought all my paper clips together and I put them in, I separated the colored ones from the metal ones. What can I say? Okay, why did to do the fabric flip. Yoy, this is my 3rd video of the day, and maybe I shouldn't have pushed it. Or would this be beautiful on here? I mean, that kind of looks nice, but maybe I'll stick with my original plan. Where did I put it? Where, oh where? Right here. Oh, and this was just a cotton ribbon that I used at the top to kind of hide my staples. Now, I probably said it at the time, but of course, you can do all sorts of methods for finishing off or holding together all your pieces of fabric. You can machine stitch them. You can hand stitch them. You can staple them. Of course, stapling is the quickest. But don't really care for that look. So that's why I finished it off with the vintage ribbon. Okay. We've got a fabric flip. So I have no idea how long this is. Yikes. That's quite a long time. However, I guess for those of you who haven't seen it, under construction. You did get to see a few things as I finished them off, or since one thing I noticed with this cutter, and you know, I have been raving about it for a long time, you definitely do have to apply even pressure because the blade kind of wants to push it. So let's see if we can do that and get that little sliver off there. There's a, yes, there's the specimen. So yes, I hope you don't mind that I took this much time showing you the components, because of course, if you didn't see the construction, I know sometimes when I watch people's flip throughs, I think to myself, okay, that's very beautiful, but how did you do it? Pray tell. And actually watching flip through, where, oh, here. A flip through, whoa, I almost ripped that. A flip through is a great way to see a person's whole project. Because I mean, if you've been making journals for a while and you know the basics and you've done some stuff, then you don't need to necessarily see people make a pocket. But boy, is it nice to see how it looks in the end. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this bodes well for me and getting, really, like I say, bearing down and getting the other purple journals completed. This is taking far longer than I thought it would or should. But it is what it is. I've been busy in between, and I do want to sort of, clear the decks a bit. Again, I do have an upcoming surgery, so I think that, if I can leave my space, and my my mind in a good place, thinking that, the desk is relatively clean. Some of these projects have been put to bed already. It will make me feel better, and it avoids the lag time that sometimes happens when you leave a project for too long. You can't remember what your intentions were. You go back to it, and it's like starting from scratch. So I'm going to be a little busy beaver is what I'm trying to say. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next one. Bye.